Dyslexic Genius here, Brett Hurt. I'm back on the Majestic, and I'm going to show you how you figure out what way the spring goes in. I know it goes in counterclockwise, but I'll show you. Here's the spindle shaft, and if you watch closely, it's going to turn this way, which means it's going to tighten up the spring counterclockwise. So when you put this barrel in and you crank it, you'll see this spindle shaft is going counterclockwise, because then it's going to undo clockwise like that. So if you tighten the spring up like that, you'll see that it goes back clockwise. That's
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. Yeah. Spring goes in counterclockwise, unwinds clockwise. Now, here's the little interesting thing about this. Since now we have to beat on the spindle shaft to put the little connector nipple thing in, and when we pound on it, it might have a tendency to come loose from where it's hooked up on the spring. And I have other videos about how to do this. So what I've done is I took my big needle nose pliers and I bent the arbor. I've bent this center arbor. I've rounded it in. I've closed it up. I come in here with a pair of pliers and you just bend it over. And you just keep going around in a circle so you do it straight. And then the centerpiece here, you want to make sure that it's tight, that the spring is tight against the nipple in here. So when you pound on it, nothing's going to come loose, because that'd be a bummer. You put this whole thing together, put the cap on, assemble it, and find out that this center spring slipped on you. So
Then you have to take it apart.
You have to take everything back apart. So when you put the centerpiece here that hooks to this spring here like that, I made this smaller with a pair of needle nose pliers, big pair. You can use a small pair if you want to, but I kept moving it around and moving around. And then what I did was I pushed it in and it was tight. So I had the nipple facing this way and I literally had to push it in. Then I grabbed it with a pair of pliers and I turned it till it popped. And then I checked it back and forth. You can see here, it's not going anywhere. It's stuck in there. So now when you pound that nipple in, you're not going to have a problem of it coming undone.
When are we going to put the nipple
I'm gonna do the off camera. I'll put all this back together, but that's how you have to do this. Some of these things get complicated, and you have to think ahead of what you're doing. Like if I'm going to pound on the spindle shaft to the spring barrels and doing a spring like this, what happens if that thing comes undone? And you have to think, okay, if that comes undone, this isn't going to be fun. I'm going to have to take everything back apart. You know, I love this hobby, and that's my tip for the day.
And I guess you could get the grease off your nose too.
Oh, grease on my nose again?